to make one point is so important. And it's hard work. One of the things you're really good at, because I know you, is analysis.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to my Renovation.net. Today, we're going to be talking about subject completely different than all the subject that we discussed on this channel before. We will be talking about technical writing. My guest today is a Chuck Churchill, who is a technical writer and a long-time friend. Chuck has been watching all my videos. I asked Chuck to critique and give me his point of view regarding one of my videos. So welcome, Chuck Churchill. Hello, Chuck, and thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks, Mo. I'm really happy to be here.
Thank you again for your email and suggestion regarding the Alexandria Library video. I really appreciate the time. And today, I'm going to follow what you said on your email. And the first one is follow the technical writer point of view, which is going to the point, correct?
Very good. Absolutely.
Okay, so in order for us to do that, so guys, again, like we're going to be discussing Alexandria Library. And so what I did, I took Chuck's email and I itemized the 6 most important points in this email. And then I'm going to ask Chuck to verify and clarify each point. And as we are doing that, I'm going to run the video of Alexandria on the background. So as we are talking, you guys can watch the video at the same time, but it's going to be with no voice.
Right.
The first point you mentioned that I should change the name to my take on Egypt's Alexandria Library. The current name is Alexandria Library, the Ancient and the New. What did really happen? Why you want me to change the name?
Actually, that is a good title. That's exactly what you're going to be talking about, Mo. That is the focus of your video, from my point of view. Okay. What I was commenting on is just after you've made the introduction about what you're going to talk about, then you have a slide that shows the 3 top libraries in the world, or the 3 top rated libraries in the world. Is that not correct?
Yes. So actually, so what you are saying here, that if I change it to my take on Egypt Alexandria Library, that's actually would be more appropriate for the video, because I'm not only talking about the library, I'm talking about Alexandria from my point of view. Am I correct?
Well, you're talking about the Alexandria Library from your point of view.
Yes.
Correct? Yes,
correct.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. You know, at this point, Mo, I was thinking, it's really nice if you were able to add a little bit about yourself just before you go into this video by telling them that you're an architect, your hometown is Alexandria. It really helps to make you sound like a more credible speaker. You have some knowledge about this. That's just from my point of view again. Okay, so go ahead.
Yeah, I really like what you said, and actually, I might actually, I will change the name to as you suggest, because I like the name. My take on Egypt's Alexandria Library. I really like that name, so I'm gonna change it. Like in the next day or 2, you're gonna see Bing. Okay, but don't charge me for that. Okay. So the next point is you talk about one topic only. And you said that I have 3 topics on this video. I have the first topic is the most stunning libraries by Popular Mechanic website. The second topic is the best 10 location to visit in Alexandria. And then the third topic, I talked about the Library of Alexandria, the old and the new. And
Correct.
Your opinion is I should only talk about one topic, because when I talk about 3 topics, I confuse the audience.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, when you walk into any video or any presentation, if somebody comes at you with 3 or more topics that they're going to talk about, you kind of wonder, what is this all going to be about? And it's really helpful to your audience to know right up front where you're headed with this. It sort of gives them a roadmap as to where you're headed. Does that make sense?
It makes sense, but also I just want to let you know why actually I went it that way.
Yeah.
The whole idea, as you said, like I'm from Alexandria, Egypt, and the original design, the competition of the library, I was so lucky that actually I was working on the design with the company I was working for at this time. However, we did not win the competition, but my understanding that we were number 3 on the world. That's my understanding. I really don't know. But
Yeah.
With all of this background about the library, so one time I was reading an article from the Popular Mechanic website, and then they talked about the most stunning libraries in the world. So I said, oh, this is very interesting. So let me see what's #1 library. And I didn't really think at that time about the Library of Alexandria. It's just because, as you said, I'm an architect and my background is in architecture. So I said, oh, let me see who's actually designed the best library. So when I read, I said, oh my God, look at that. Calgary is #1. So I was happy for Calgary and happy for you. But then I started.
Yeah, no, that's great. That's great, Mo. But still, and this might sound like I'm being too picky about it, but still your topic is the Alexandria Library. And you can mention that it is rated as one of the top 3 libraries in the world, top 3 designs for a library in the world. But people are going to want to know, okay, what are you talking about here? The Alexandria Library? Or are you talking about the Calgary Library?
Or the New York.
Or the New York Library. And it's nice to mention the league in which the Alexandria Library sits. You don't understand what I mean, right? You're in the top 3. And in your original video, you said that Alexandria was #3. Well, as I said, nobody wants to know about the #3 library. They want to know about #1. Okay, who won the championship? So you just say it was in the top 3 and leave it to your audience to say, well, okay, well, it was up there. So it must be important.
But also, like, you know, Chuck, like I know me, you know me for a long time. Like when I say, when I prepare a video or I say any news or anything on my channel, I like to be as honest and transparent as much as I can.
Right.
I don't want, and you know me, I'm very strict. So I want to be honest too.
That's a very good point that you brought up, and a lot of people want to be honest about the information that they're presenting. But don't let that get in the way of the presentation to your audience, okay? Your audience accepts the fact that you're honest right up front. So the honesty is a problem in that we tend to bring in too much information because we feel we're being honest. We've got to talk to them about every aspect of whatever the topic is, when your audience doesn't really need all that information, and they're not going to think you're dishonest by leaving it out. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, it does.
Okay. So the biggest problem for everybody when it comes to making presentations of any type is cutting out any unnecessary information. It's information overload for your user. Okay. So it's a real challenge. And so that's why I've suggested that you cut out certain things that are detracting from your central topic, your main topic here. Go ahead.
I agree. And I can tell you, like, it's very, very hard, especially when you have like a subject that you really like and
Absolutely.
you have a lot of information.
Yeah.
And it's just like, oh my God, I cannot drop this point.
Yeah.
This is
you'd love to talk about it. Yeah. You love to sit down with your audience for hours and talk about it. But don't forget, your audience has only got so much time, and they'd love to hear what you have to say about one point. Okay. And if you can do that, they'll love you.
And actually, by talking about this point, so we already talked about number 3, because in the beginning I said there are 6 points. Number 3 was the rating of Alexandria as number 3rd. And you said I should delete this part. So we already talked about that. Now let's move to number 4. Suggestion, which is the 10 interesting places to see in Alexandria. And you suggest that I should actually move this part from the middle, because I have like 3 topics. If I insist in having it on the video, it should be at the end of the video.
Good. Yeah. And I was thinking about this, and this is a big topic in itself, you have to admit. And my spin on this is, I really think that at the end of your video, you should say, you know, I'm a native of Alexandria and I know the city. And if you really want to know some of the very interesting places to visit, if you ever go there, go see my video on best places to see in Alexandria, because I really think that's a whole topic in itself, Mo.
So I want to actually ask you something that's very interesting, because actually when I read this part, I was thinking of just maybe I should take this video. It's a very long video. Maybe I should take it and separate them into 3 different videos and release them. And actually people will enjoy them more than having, because I honestly, I agree with you. People, they don't have the patience to sit down and watch half an hour. So maybe if I cut this video and make them like into 3 or 4 videos, will give people a chance to watch them one by one. So whatever information I want to pass through, it will get through them. Because by having like a 30 minutes video, a lot of people, they're not going to watch it. They're not going to get what I want to say.
Right. Absolutely. And that is a very good idea.
So I'm going to do that.
Break it out into parts and call it part 1, part 2, part 3, for example.
Actually, I'm going to do that. By the way, I did that with the Egyptian furniture. I call it part 1, part 2, part 3, because it was so long also.
Yeah.
So in the Egyptian furniture, I talked first. I visited one of the most stunning Egyptian furniture store in Egypt. And this guy is like first of all, I walked into the showroom. It's like, wow, this is not a showroom of furniture store. This is like a museum. I'm gonna put the link so people they can watch.
Yep.
And then they have 4 different showrooms: classic furniture, modern furniture, and they have another one that's like the postmodern between. And then I went into the back and they show me how they make the furniture. And that was like very, very interesting. So I think that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna use your suggestion. I'm gonna create 3 or 4 videos, smaller videos, and I'm going to release them with different names so people will understand what this video about. And if somebody want to watch the entire one, I can give them a link to that full video.
Right. I completely agree with you. And think of it this way, Mo. In the technical writing world, we do a lot of website design. And so you're familiar with Googling information where you get into a website and then you go and you see the link to something that interests you. Well, that's breaking the information up, okay, into certain areas. And so think of it as sort of building this like a website where you have areas you can offer your audience an option of going to these different areas, right? So your part 1, part 2, part 3 would be those options.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
I like this idea. I really like it. And I think I'm getting into that now, because I noticed like when I put a smaller video, people, they watch the video to the end, because when I go into the YouTube analysis, I can tell like what is the percentage of people watch, how long they watch of the video. So I noticed the shorter video, more people, they watch the video to the end. The longer video, when I see the analysis, it gets cut in the middle. And sometimes I feel bad because I have like very good information in the second half. So I just...
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think
I
that
know.
sounds very good.
It's tough, Mo, because you feel like you're in a battle with yourself in
Yes,
that there's so much you want to talk about and get across to your audience, but then you have to keep switching back to your audience's point of view. You sort of have to be empathetic
yes,
to your audience. Okay. They can only take in so much information at once. You're an architect, you know all of this stuff,
yeah.
but they don't. So, you know, it's interesting. I'm looking at all of the pictures here of the library. I don't recall seeing all of these. Is this the original?
This is this is exactly the video that I uploaded into the YouTube.
Okay, this is a really good point I'd like to make here. I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, wow, these are really interesting. I haven't seen this before. Okay, give me a second here to explain what's going on in my mind. When I watch a movie for entertainment, and then I come back to that same movie maybe a year later or 6 months later, and I watch it and I think, wait a minute, there's certain scenes here I didn't see before. And it's because there's so much information coming at us that we don't necessarily remember all of it. It comes in and we can't process it all. And so our brain clears out our memory and we go for the next scene, that kind of thing. Okay. You understand what I'm saying here, right?
Absolutely, yes.
So what's happening here, Mo, is I'm seeing this video of yours for the second or third time, but there's a lot of things in here that don't register with me that I didn't see. I swear I didn't see this before. That indicates to me right there, you've got a huge amount of information here.
Yes.
Okay. And you need to break it out. It's beautiful. Some of these scenes are really amazing and give me a sense of where this library sits and the environment, because architects do care about the place in which this building is going to sit, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's a very good point, because when I talked about the library, as everybody's aware that the location of the new library is the same location as the old library.
Yeah,
so
it's amazing. So you just said something right there. It's important to me, because if I'm looking at this location and I'm seeing Alexandria in the distance, like the skyscrapers, whatever, and the water, I can transport myself back 2,000 years or wherever when it was first built, right?
Yeah.
And I get a sense of the history. I get a sense of the history just by seeing the real landscape that probably existed the time of the Romans. Okay. So anyway, I don't want to get off topic.
Okay.
Here,
so now let's move into the fifth point.
Yeah.
Which you mentioned that I should cut the audio when I was touring the museum, because it's very hard to hear. And this one, I'm going to actually tell you what happened here. I planned this visit a long time, and I said my next visit, I will do the Alexandria Library. Mm-hmm. And then I went and recorded all of this video, but unfortunately I got a little bit sick when I was in Egypt, I think because of the weather and all of that. No problem. Yep. None of this stuff. So anyhow, so I have very, very short time to go and record this library. So I went and record, and I went to record the library. I took a full day. And then during the recording, I have to actually go back, because I didn't know that they have actually limitation on how many people they actually can enter the library, because they want to keep it in a good condition. So they don't let anybody go. So the first day I went to there, they told me, unfortunately, they exceed the limit. So I have to come back later on. So the following day, which was the day before, actually, I come back to United States. So I went and recorded all of this video and took all of these videos with me here into the state. And I started making the video. And as I was making this part of the video, I noticed background music. And you know, like when you're recording and listening and make sure, and so you kind of like you all the background information, you drop them, you don't notice them. But when I put put this part on my computer and I start listening to it, I noticed some background music. I said, oh my God, look at this. This is a background music. If I leave it, it's a copyright issue. So it will be completely blocked. So what I did, I put another music on the top of the first music so it can disguise the music so it won't be a copyright issue. And that's why there is a noise in the background.
I see. I see.
So I was debating, should I actually completely remove the tour voice, or I just keep it with that? So I was debating that for a couple of days. And then I said, you know what, let's leave it. If it's hard for people to hear, maybe they can actually drop the voice and they can watch it. If somebody decided to watch it, listen to it, they can listen to it. So I kept it as an option for the audience. Either they watch it, but I can tell you that's the reason why. Because if I leave it with the background music, the one that was in the library, for sure, it will get blocked because of copyright issues. So
I see.
Able to watch it, you won't be able to listen to it. So that's the reason why.
Okay. You know, Mo, it would have been the ideal situation would be where you were the narrator. And as you're walking through the library, you're doing the speaking and not a guide. And there was silence. There was no background music. It would have been great. Okay. But I understand you don't have control over the environment.
She was very good, by the way. She was like, my God, how did you learn all of this stuff? Like, I was listening to her, it's like, oh my God, listening. And you know what? And she was saying all of this information, and she didn't have any paper or anything to guide her. She's just talking like it was so natural. So I thought, like, that was great. I will never actually, I have to be a history teacher to just say. So anyway, she was like really, really nice. I appreciate her, and thank you so much. I'm thanking her if she's ever watched that video. Okay, so now let's move to the number 6 point. You said, which is the last one. I said, it is a good idea to leave the project for a week or two, then come back to it.
Yes, that is something that I have found over the years. It's amazing how you feel about it after you've left it alone for a little while. Give yourself a little bit of distance from it, okay? Yeah. Because we have so much of our emotions connected with what we do.
I agree with you 100%. Like, if sometimes too, like when I leave the project and come back to it, it just for some reason, like, you see different things. You get, as you said, you will be disconnect from your emotion into what you really want to bring into, or what you want to, what's your goal?
Yes, absolutely. And it's amazing. Every time I write something, whether it be a manual or a script or whatever, the first time, once I've finished the first draft and I look at it and say, that's pretty good, you know, I'll just stick with that. But if I come back to it maybe 3 days later and look at it, I'll look at it and I'll say, that's terrible. Because you know it's really bad.
You know what? I have to say that sometimes I just put a video out. I said, "Oh my God, this is a very good video," and then a couple of weeks later, I watched the video. I said, "What the heck was that guy?"
Absolutely, absolutely, and that's all about the editing process.
Yeah,
the really good work comes out of the editing, over and over and over again. Yeah. Okay, so it's tough, and it might seem a bit boring. But believe me, the end product is so much better than when you first started. So that I'd encourage you. Yeah,
I agree. Actually, I do that. Honestly, I do that because what I have like a folder with all the YouTube videos that actually will be coming up. So what I do, I have a subfolder for each upcoming video. Yeah. And I usually put the scenario, I put the writing in word writing. Even sometimes I don't use this word writing, but I have to organize my thoughts. Mm-hmm. And then I go back to it and then I found more information, and then I edit, and then when I'm happy with it, then I put it up.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, that's great, Mo.
Yeah.
Listen, if you don't mind me adding something here, I've done videos, technical videos, how to build certain things or how to maintain equipment. I haven't done anything for YouTube, and yet the last project I did, which was an HMI design, that's designing touchscreens for control systems. I had no previous experience working with a particular piece of software that a PLC designer had created so that we could program the PLCs to do all this. And there was no documentation from the company that made the PLCs. So the engineer I was working with suggested that I look at a couple of YouTube videos he found on how to do it. So I looked at these videos, and that was the difference between me being able to do this project or not be able to do it. Okay. I have a lot of respect for good YouTube videos in terms of information for teaching people how to do things. So I encourage you, Mo, to continue and perfect what you're doing, because I think a lot of people are going to get so much out of your perspective from an architect. I haven't seen that anywhere where an architect has given a perspective on something from an architectural point of view. So yeah, I encourage you to get these videos, tweak them. Your audience will love them.
Yeah, I agree with you, Chuck, because like one of the video actually I created, which is I believe it's video number 4. It's about like how the project manager work, and it's actually, it was very, very interesting because and I'm a project manager.
Mm-hmm.
In the beginning, when I get into the project management position or work, I wish that actually I have a video like that, because I explain it exactly as is. When
Yes.
you read I took actually, by the way, I took project management course, and so I'm actually, I took a certificate in project management,
Mm-hmm.
but to take the certificate of project management completely different than when a project manager explain exactly what they do. And okay, you want to say something? I'm going to say.
Yeah. There's a difference between taking a course, reading the material out of a book, and having a real person talking to you through a video. There's a difference there.
Yes.
There's a certain human element that I think we all appreciate. And if you do a really good job of it, you can get so much information across to somebody let's say in project management.
Yeah, absolutely.
So all in all, this is a powerful medium. And
yeah, I know.
If you can get it right, you'll have a lot of people appreciate what you do.
I'm enjoying that because I feel like all my background experience, I'm able to put it out for people to learn from it.
That's right.
And that was my main goal, as we discussed before.
Yes, absolutely. So go for it.
So the last thing, Chuck, I want you to talk about.
Yeah.
Now we talk about, you critique my videos and you chop it everywhere.
Yeah.
So now I want you said there are a few good things about my videos and about my channel. I want you actually to talk about that.
The good things about it.
Don't think about it too much, or it means like there is nothing there.
Well, as I told you in the critique, one of the things you're really good at, because I know you, is analysis. Okay. And your analysis of the YouTube world and what works and what doesn't, all that information is so important to designing a good YouTube video. The other thing that we've stated this before, and I stated right at the beginning, is you're a credible speaker in this area. This isn't something you just picked up. You've got 30 years experience or more in this viewpoint of yours, the architectural viewpoint, for example. That alone comes out in your video in certain parts. Okay. So I think that's the other thing that I would say is very good about you. You haven't just picked this up and said, oh, this is an interesting viewpoint, I think I'll adopt it.
Thank you.
Yeah. So a lot of people will do that. Okay. And some of them are very good at it, but in your case, you've already established yourself as an expert in this area. So it makes your videos that much more valuable to listen to. You know, you asked me a question about what were some of the things that you did right. One that it just came to mind is that you do have a good personality for this, and it comes out, okay? And I don't know if that's just because you've had more experience with the YouTube, but I think you've done enough work in sales, haven't you? You've worked in sales.
Yeah, I worked in sales when the economy was down, because, you know, I always like to work. The economy was down in 2008. I worked, but even like when I work in sales, I work in sales for home renovation company.
Yeah. That, I think that's a big plus for you, Mo. It's coming across. You have an ease with speaking to people, okay? And that's another plus.
Like, as you are aware, like I work 20 years in Canada. I work 15 years in the States. I work in Qatar. I work in everywhere, and all my background experience just related to architecture and project manager. And you saw like the project I work in is like all over. Like, but anyhow, like I don't want to just say so much about me on this video. We're gonna go back to the last thing, and I'm gonna leave it to you. I want you to just say something to the audience, especially like for people who they are trying to create like a good YouTube videos. What do you suggest to them?
Yeah, and you know what? You're the one who suggested it right at the beginning, and that was to make a point. To make one point is so important, and it's hard work, but your audience will appreciate that so much if you focus on getting across one idea in the video. Don't spread yourself out into different areas, and you will be very, very successful at whatever video you're creating. So that's the key here. One point. Okay.
Thank you so much for joining us today again. And I really appreciate talking to you, like not only on the video, every time we talk.
Oh, this has been great, Mo, and I look forward to the revised edition of your Alexandria library video. Okay.
Thanks so much, everybody, for watching, and talk to you in my next video, and goodbye.
Very good, Mo.
Very good. Can you imagine somebody like me? I'm so shy. I'm like, you remember my personality when I was working PM Design Group?
No, you didn't come across as being shy, Mo.
I was
really?
So shy.
Yeah?
I was really shy when I was young. I swear.
Well, you've come a long way, because
when you take somebody from Egypt and you just throw him in the middle of
oh, I know.
and you just have to
It's
find
crazy.
a way.